The moons of Krathis IV hung low in the violet sky, casting long shadows across the marshlands where the Vrillian settlement sprawled. Lyra had been on the planet for exactly 43 days, assigned as a xenobiological researcher to study the apex predators of this world, the Vril. They were magnificent creatures, 8 feet tall when fully grown, covered in midnight black fur that rippled with bioluminescent patterns, eyes like molten gold, and claws that could shred durasteel plating. The adult Vril had regarded her with cautious curiosity. Humans were new to this sector, fragile-looking things with soft skin and blunt teeth. The settlement's matriarch, Kreshna, had granted Lyra permission to observe their young, though the warning had been clear. They are predators from birth, human. Do not forget. Lyra hadn't forgotten. She simply didn't care about intimidation the way the Vril expected. It was on the 44th day that Vorin made his move. The young Vril, barely 3 cycles old, which made him roughly equivalent to a human teenager, had been watching the strange alien female for weeks. She moved through their territory with infuriating confidence, taking samples, making notes on her datapad completely unafraid. It grated against his instincts. She was prey-sized. She should cower. Vorin gathered his clutchmates, Cythera, sleek and cunning, Draymok, massive even for a cub, and little Zen, who was eager to prove himself. They planned it carefully, the way young predators do when testing their skills. They would corner her in the marsh hollow, use the darkness and their natural camouflage, let their eyes glow in the shadows and unleash their full threat displays. She would scream. She would run. She would finally understand that humans didn't belong here. The ambush was perfect. Lyra was crouched by a cluster of luminescent fungi, carefully extracting spore samples when the first growl echoed through the hollow. She looked up. 4 pairs of golden eyes materialized from the darkness surrounding her. The cubs moved with surprising coordination, their bioluminescent patterns flaring in aggressive configurations, jagged lightning across their bodies. Vorin stepped forward, rising to his full height, already nearly 7 feet tall. He opened his jaws wide, displaying rows of serrated teeth designed to tear through flesh and bone. His claws extended, each one as long as Lyra's fingers. The growl that emerged from his chest was deep, resonant, designed by evolution to trigger primal terror in prey species. The other cubs joined in, creating a symphony of predatory menace. Lyra blinked. Then she sat back on her heels and laughed, not a nervous giggle, not a hysterical shriek. A genuine, delighted laugh that echoed through the hollow like music. "Oh my God," she said in standard, then switched to their language, her accent atrocious but understandable. "You guys are absolutely adorable." Vorin's threat display faltered. This wasn't the response. Prey didn't laugh. Lyra stood up, brushing marsh mud from her knees. She was small compared to them, barely 5.5 feet tall, but she walked straight toward Vorin with her arms open. "Look at you. You've been practicing that, haven't you?" That was a really good growl. Very intimidating. Cythera exchanged confused glances with Draymok. Zen's bioluminescent patterns flickered uncertainly. Vorin tried again, adding a headshake that made his intimidating mane flare out. He snapped his jaws in the air, a behavior that usually made full-grown herbivores flee in terror. Lyra clapped her hands together. "That's even better. The headshake is a nice touch. Can you do it again?" Something broke in Vorin's young mind. This human was either the bravest creature he'd ever encountered, or completely insane. Possibly both. You're not afraid?" He managed in his own language. "Afraid?" Lyra tilted her head. "Why would I be afraid? You're cubs. You're learning." "That's amazing." She reached out slowly, telegraphing her movement. "May I?" Vorin was too stunned to object. Her small, soft hand touched the fur on his arm, fingers running through it with obvious appreciation. "Your patterns are beautiful, Vorin. The way they pulse when you're trying to be scary, it's like art." She knew his name. She'd been paying attention. "How did you—" Draymok started. "Know who you are? I've been watching you guys practice hunting with the matriarch. You're all very skilled." Lyra smiled, and there was something in that expression that made Vorin's predatory instincts go quiet. Not submission, something else. Recognition, perhaps, respect. "But we were going to frighten you," Zen said, his voice small. Lyra laughed again. "I know, it was a good attempt. But here's the thing about humans, we're weird about fear. We seek it out sometimes. We tell scary stories for fun. We ride machines that throw us through the air at dangerous speeds just for the thrill." She shrugged. "Plus, I've been studying your species for weeks. You're predators, yes, but you're not cruel. You only hunt what you need. You protect your clutch. You have honor." She looked at each of them in turn. "You weren't really going to hurt me. You just wanted to establish dominance, I get it. No hard feelings." Voren felt something shift in his chest. This human understood them better than some of the adult Vril did. "Tell you what," Lyra said, pulling out her datapad. "How about I show you something humans find scary? Fair trade." She pulled up a video file, archived footage from Earth. The cubs gathered around, their threat displays completely forgotten, as they watched images of human history, ancient predators, natural disasters, and then human warfare. "This," Lyra said quietly, "is what happens when you scare a human badly enough. When we're actually threatened, we don't run. We become the scarier thing." The footage showed human soldiers, human machines, human determination that bordered on insanity. Charging forward despite injuries, adapting, surviving, winning through sheer stubborn refusal to quit. Draymok's patterns had gone completely dark. "You're persistence predators, among other things," Lyra agreed. "We're also pack animals, social, loyal." She smiled at them. "A lot like you, actually." That night changed something fundamental. The cubs didn't leave. They followed Lyra back to her research station, drawn by curiosity and something deeper. Over the following weeks, they became her constant companions. Voren appointed himself her primary guardian, walking beside her through territories that even adult Vril found dangerous when a genuine threat appeared, a feral pack of marsh stalkers that had been driven mad by parasitic infection. The cubs witnessed something that cemented their devotion forever. Lyra didn't run. She positioned herself between the cubs and the threat, pulled out a plasma cutter she'd modified from mining equipment, and stood her ground. Her voice when she spoke was completely calm. "You want them, you go through me." The cubs attacked as one unit, with Lyra covering their flanks with precision that spoke of practiced combat training. She moved like them, like a predator, and when it was over and the threat was neutralized, Voren understood the truth. Humans weren't prey. They were something the galaxy had never properly categorized: predators who chose gentleness, warriors who chose peace, apex survivors who extended protection to those who'd tried to frighten them. 15 cycles later, when Lyra published her comprehensive study on Vrillian social behavior, the acknowledgments section was telling. "To Voren, Cythera, Draymok, and Zen, who taught me that respect transcends species, and that the strongest bonds are forged when we choose to laugh instead of fear." By then, the 4 Vril were adults, respected hunters in their own right. But they still guarded the human researcher who'd laughed at their threat displays, not because she needed protection, though they provided it fiercely, but because she'd given them something more valuable than fear. She'd given them understanding, and in return they'd given her a pack. The galaxy would eventually learn what the Vril already knew. Humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their technology or their stubbornness. It was their ability to turn enemies into family, simply by choosing to see them clearly.